Hey, what's up YouTube? Kevin Anthony here. Today I'm going to be talking about the real reason why so many people get into kink. I know I'm going to piss a lot of people in the kink community off on this one, but it has to be said. All right, before I give you the real reason, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Doing those things greatly helps the channel. The more you do that, the more people see these videos and the more people I get to help. Okay, so what am I talking about here? What is the real reason why so many people get involved in kink? Well, having spent a lot of years around sex-positive communities around polyamory, communities around tantra, communities around kink, sex party communities, a lot of that stuff. I've watched a lot of people get into kink and then get out of kink, and then get into kink and then get out of kink. And I came to a conclusion, and honestly, I can't say that this was totally my idea. This is something that Selena and I both came up with, and it was an observation from our own personal experience. Many people get into kink originally as part of their awakening process. So what do I mean by that? Well, most of us grew up in really sexually repressive environments. So I grew up in a family where we just didn't talk about it. It just wasn't talked about at all. It's just not something that came up. So the only options to learn about sex would be from, older friends, maybe porn, of course, all the worst ways to learn about sex. That, of course, is one of the reasons why we do what we do here in this channel, because we want to educate people. We don't want them to have to find bad information from bad sources. So if that is the way that you grew up, you probably didn't really have a very varied sex life or sexual experiences. And so what happens is, as you start to wake up, as you start to think, hey, maybe there's something more to this. Maybe there's something more to just doing regular old missionary position with him on top. And you want to reach out and try new things. Maybe it's toys, maybe it's BDSM or Tantra or something like that. You're just curious. You want to know, you want to try things. You want to figure out, what do you like? What do you not like? What are you a hell yes to and what are you a hell no to? And so when it comes to kink, a lot of people start going down that road. And you've seen this ever since 50 Shades of Grey came out. So many people were like, ooh, that sounds really fun and exciting. Let me try it, right? And they went and they tried it for a little while. And then some of them said, it's not really for me. And some of them were like, hey, this is great. I want to keep doing it. And that's the point, is a lot of people are really just trying to find what they like and what they don't like. They're experimenting. They'll keep the things that they like. They'll get rid of the things that they don't like. Now, I guarantee you there will be some people in the kink community who are like, this is complete BS. Kink is like a real thing and I'm into it hardcore and I set out to get it. Great. And I guarantee you that there are people out there who kink is 100% their thing, and that's how they want to show up in their sexuality. Great. No problem with that. But understand, the majority of regular people who end up getting into kink do so because they just want to expand their sexual horizons, because they're curious about what it might be like to try something new. And that's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. If you find out that you love kink and that's your thing and you want to be totally down that path, great. And if you find out that some of the things really work for you and now you've just expanded your sort of sexual toolbox and vocabulary, but you're not really ready to go all the way down that kink path, and then that's great too. And so when you see people experimenting with things, understand they are likely just experimenting with it. I have watched many couples go down that road. I watched a couple personal friends of mine go pretty deep into the BDSM Dom sub world. And they did so for a solid year, to the point where, he was walking around holding a leash and she was wearing a collar, just not showing up at specifically Dom sub events, like anywhere, right? And they did that for a while, and that was an interesting experiment, and they figured out what they liked and didn't like, and then they moved on, and they never did it again, and that's perfectly fine. So if you see people out there, or if you're curious yourself, don't worry about it. It's okay. You can try and experiment with some kink stuff, and if it doesn't work for you, you leave it behind, and if it does, great, you do more of it. So there you go. That is my opinion, of course, along with Celine as well, as to how most people get into kink.